time we talked about forward thinking, or maybe ruminating backwards. What I talk about there is that people are time travelers, aren't they? Our brain goes backwards, or it goes forwards. We haven't got time machines to go back in time and do over. We can't rewind and play that hole again. And we don't know exactly what is going to happen on the last hole or the last putt on the 18th green. What we do have control over is the here and now, isn't it? So sometimes we need to quieten the mind. And I love that phrase because it's a racing machine all the time, isn't it, our brain? It's just always talking to us. But sometimes we need to tell it to shut up, quieten down. And to do that is a simple exercise that I want my athletes to do. It's a thing called mindfulness. I don't know if anyone's heard of that phrase before. Mindfulness is where we're in the present moment. We're able to live this moment right here and right now. Because if we're in here, we're in our inner world, aren't we? Whereas if we're here, that's our real world, our world. Yet so many times we get sucked into this. So a very simple exercise to do, and this is where I'll do it in regards to on the course, or we're going to do an example here in the room, but this is something you need to practice daily. So for example, what colour is my shirt? What can you hear right now? What else? A hum. What else? Conversations. Can you feel the chair on your legs? Can you feel your heartbeat? We get the part of someone's heartbeat. Those three questions, at that point in time when I was asking you those questions, you weren't thinking about anything else, were you? You weren't allowing your mind to actually think about anything else. And all we were doing was focusing on our senses. What can you see? The colour of my shirt. What can you hear? And what can you feel? Of course, if we're closer to the cafe, and I'd be like, what can you smell? What can you taste? If anyone's had a mint, can you taste that on your mouth? This is mindfulness. It's being in the present moment, right here and right now. Now, of course, when we're on the course, that's a really important thing, isn't it? So when we're walking down, so we've just hit it off the tee, and I've totally shanked it. Bad. So what would I be saying to myself? What an idiot. Here I go again. Now, of course, that's not helpful, is it? Remember those words? Is it helpful or healthy for me to say those words? No, it's not. So, of course, what could I be doing instead? Quieten the mind. So as I'm walking down the fairway, what can I see?
Birds, trees.
Oh, you can hear them as well, can't you? What else? Oh, look at the head, you know, all these different things. You can ask yourself how you feel as you walk down. Some of my athletes actually do get out their music and put their earphones on. So as they're walking down, they're not thinking about anything else. They might sing a song to themselves because they don't want to be distracted by their mind. So quiet in the mind. Now to take this into more of a daily practice, how many people here drive from one place to another and totally forget which way you went? Don't even remember stopping at a stop sign or because you're thinking about everything else. Have you ever done that? The drive home from work or even the drive here. You're thinking about so many other things, you can't even remember. That's the whole concept of, did I leave the iron on? I do it all the time when I'm locking the doors. I'm making work and be like, okay, yeah, now, did I just lock that? It happens all the time because we're forward or backwards thinking. So we've got to be in the present moment. Going back to the car example, police training. They actually get their cadets and that to actually verbalise, self-commentate when they're in the car doing their driver training. These are for times when they're in the shoot and say they don't have the guy on the radio next to them, they're driving by themselves. So they would be like, I'm approaching a roundabout, I'm changing into second gear, car approaching on the right, they go through everything. I'd like you guys to know on the way home, try it. And particularly if you're by yourself. Someone else is in the car will be a little bit strange, but try it for yourself. Because what happens as soon as we focus our attention onto what we're doing at that point in time, we suddenly perform a lot better. Because we're less distracted by those backwards thinking and forwards thinking. I do this a lot also with kids. So kids, a lot of the time, they love eating, don't they? So when they get up in the morning, okay, they have to smell their food, they have to taste it, they have to figure out what colours can they see, what flavours can they taste. So then they're just practising it. Think of any task you do on a daily basis where your mind races. Brushing your teeth, having a shower. The why I say this is so important is because the more opportunity we give our mind to race, the more it's going to race out there, isn't it? So start training it better. Quieten the mind at times. And I'm sure those people whose minds race on a regular basis during the day, they're the ones who are having trouble going to sleep at night. Because some of you are saying, no, Brown, I want you to stop now. I've let you run wild all day. You've got to stop now. Brightening the mind, very key one for us in self-talk.